Welcome, Star Wars fans, to Duel of the Ranks. I am your host for today, not Prati. I know, I don't know what that was. But I'm joined with my esteemed co-hosts, Nada Kyber Alanis and Dark Chaco.
Yeah, this is a podcast with hot takes so hot that you'll wish you were Anakin on Mustafar. Honestly, you're better
Honestly,
off. You're better off.
Yeah, you are.
I
better
will
off.
say I think Revenge of the Sith is the origin of my intense fear of like losing a limb. Like I think I saw that, the ending of Revenge of the Sith way too young, and to this day I look away. Even like when Anakin like loses his hand during Attack of the Clones, I skip through on Disney Plus.
Yeah, she.
You know,
She's,
I
oh,
can't
she,
do
she
it. It
can't. She
freaks
can't.
me out.
She does not like amputation.
Mm-mm.
She does
you
not
know
like
what's
it.
funny? I do have an aversion to like losing a limb myself, but it comes
Thank
from
you.
such a random place. Okay, I had an action figure, and it was Robin from the Batman and Robin movie. So it's Chris O'Donnell with
Okay.
with his brown vest and stuff like that. And I play with my action figures. And one time I had them go camping in the backyard, and my dog ate his arm. It- and it was like
Oh
my favorite toy, and so I'd still want to play with it, but he just had one arm, and I was like, "Oh man." I guess it's kind of ableist of
You're
me,
like,
but
wow, this would be awful if it
it's
happened
like
in real life.
it's so inconvenient.
Ugh,
Oddly enough, the toy came with like
insane.
with dumbbells for him to like work out for some reason. It was so weird. You guys are looking kind of internet sluggish to me. That might
That's
be on my side though. So
I wouldn't expect anything less. He's gone now. Like that's the big letdown of this whole episode. Whoa, what the heck's going on here? We all good?
I think so. I
We
mean, I'm
good?
checking.
We
I'm
bought?
only running 890 megabits per second, so I think that'll.
No, I think that was us. Sorry, I'm doing too
I
much.
think we're
I'll stop
good.
doing too much. But yeah, what was everybody's thoughts on the episode? Alanis, you go first.
I think it was too short. That's honestly my only criticism. I will say, love the ending. I miss good old fashioned television, and I'm gonna die on this hill, where we have to wait a week to figure out what happens. Like when it had that kind of like jarring, like, oh my God, ending, I was like, oh my God, yes. Like television. It reminded me back of like the days when everyone would sit on Twitter during like Game of Thrones and we'd all like live tweet it. Like that is what it brought back that feeling. So I thought that episode really stood out for me in that way because I don't think Star Wars has done a successful cliffhanger like that in a while. I think it's normally their cliffhangers are kind of subpar.
Okay. I like it. I mean, for me, I have to take the exact opposite take, but I have some specific reasons,
Okay.
and it's mostly just because it's Star Wars and because of where we currently are at in the current fandom sandbox. Because like as an anime fan, I keep saying that this was an anime ending. If you watch anime, they end like this every
Yes.
goddamn week. I'm watching Kaiju number 8 right now, and I love it. So you get a big reveal, and you're like, you're excited. You tune in next week. You can talk about it. It's awesome. But when I'm watching the show, I don't have a bunch of assholes saying the stupidest things I've ever heard in my entire life incessantly. So, especially things where it's like, that was obviously the point of this. You're just mad because you don't know the answer to your question. You're mad that you're watching a mystery show and you're wondering things. You know what I mean? So, for that reason, I wish they just dropped the whole season of this.
Mm. So, in a way, I do agree with you. But I actually have been thinking about this idea for a while. And we all know that Star Wars is like so insane. And we also realize the fact that Star Wars can launch at as many books before a show or a movie as possible. Half of, I would say, most adults in the world are illiterate, either by choice or not by choice. So the idea of like getting backstory through written word is not really working. But I wonder if they came out almost with like a 20-minute, like almost like informational type esque. I don't even know if it would be like performance or just like something like this of someone explaining it prior to something going out to ease some of those questions.
So what you could do,
Almost like a watch guide.
so if you remember when they were releasing phase 1, they were doing the YouTube, like they were going into each like detail of what happens in the books a little bit. And it was like an animated kind of thing. You could do something like that, like reference people back to that. But I also, that probably won't work because again, it's books and they're, like Alana said, they're
No, I just mean I completely agree with Chaco's point that the mouth breathers of this community are, I think, a reason that the Acolyte is, you know, currently facing a very huge uphill battle. But I kind of hate the drop the whole season at once, John.
agreed.
I do. I think it pulls away from the community experience.
No, you're absolutely right. That's why House
Yeah.
of the Dragon does so well. Game of Thrones did so well. Like, people are willing to wait until Sunday to see what happens next. And Star Wars fans, I don't know where it went wrong because we used to wait years for the next movie.
You know, I also wonder why Star Wars hasn't gotten on the band of live tweeting. Like,
agreed.
Genuinely, for a community that loves to yap, loves to hear themselves speak. Like, I really don't understand why that hasn't been more of a thing. And I know the number one answer is always like, but I want to respect spoilers. Okay, every other show on the goddamn planet does it. If you're not going to watch it, use like a block thing, you know? Like, you know, I don't know. I think the Star Wars community like shoots itself in the foot a lot, especially when it comes to things like this. Because I think there was a lot of really cool things that happened in this episode that are getting overlooked because everyone is like, oh my god, birth dates. Like, what is happening?
And we're talking about fucking Keanu Mundi. We're talking about Keanu Mundi.
But that's, I mean, that's an entirely different problem because you know, not one of them gave a damn about Keanu Mundi. Like these are
no.
So that just tells us that it doesn't matter what it is, right? That's not the issue. It's there are people searching for an issue to have to make a names. And but you're right. I mean, I think there could be more. I'm about to reach out to Swagman myself and be like, let me do it, because listen, I can ask the questions and I can put up information and articles as things are dropping during the episode, and like, because I do think that would help guide, at least provide a backstop, and also, you know, hopefully create more interesting dialogue. But I also think that Lucasfilm is scared because of, you know, obvious reasons.
And here's my thing, like, I think Lucasfilm doesn't do a lot to step in because any publicity is good publicity. That's why they love the mouth breathing yappers, in a way. But like, again, like back to the whole live tweeting thing, like, wouldn't you want to facilitate that? Because the people who are watching it and are going to live tweet from their phones are going to be the people like us who are going to be like, yo, that was so sick. This is so awesome. # Acolyte. Like, then that gets flooded. That's what people are seeing. And they're not seeing a bunch of people who have not seen the light of day being like, oh my God, Star Wars is ruined because Ki-Adi-Mundi has been born a different time period. Like, it's just very odd and strange. But
no, but going back to the episode,
yes.
honestly, this was probably my least favorite one so far, although the end of it was the most hype. This one is where I feel like, and I don't, because someone said something to me and it had me shooketh of, of like, well, maybe. Well, I felt in this one there were certain bits of dialogue that really didn't hit the mark for me. Like
Yes.
the performances felt flat, and also I feel like if it's not Soul, Osha, or Jackie, um I feel like some of them have don't feel as natural. Now I did have a friend tell me, you know what, there's a lot of exposition that's probably needed for people who aren't as entrenched. So those bits of dialogue probably feel forced to you because technically they are. Kind of like if you play Horizon Zero Dawn, Aloy's like, huh, a ladder. I wonder where this goes. And you're like, no one's gonna say that out loud. But like it's you're saying for me in the audience. So maybe there's a touch of that. But I felt like this episode had kind of the most of that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think for me, the dialogue portion where I was like, oh, that's a bit odd, was when all of the Jedi were on the ship and they were kind of like introducing Basil.
Yes.
I love Basil.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Just screaming in a forest. What a movie. Like if I was a Jedi, that would be me. My only job is to just yell. Incredible.
Screw the bear. I choose Basil.
I also, by the way, I really, really, really love the fact that like the Jedi have a designated job as a tracker. Like, I need to now know, are there multiple Jedi trackers? Is this Basil the only one and they made this position for him? Like, I need to know.
Are all trackers insane?
Yeah.
But
no.
and also, like, is Basil better than a droid? Why are we not using droids for tracking? Is this like, I was very caught up on the whole tracker thing for a while. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what's funny? And I've never brought this up because I feared the wave it might cause. Speaking of trackers, I hate the trackers in The Mandalorian. They don't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely correct.
Yeah.
It's a tracker that leads me directly to it. How?
yeah.
Why are we glossing over? Like, what is it? Is it tracking its DNA from here? And when did you get the DNA? And why didn't you just get them then? Like, I don't know. It's that part super bugs me.
It's also like the beckon calls from the Thrawn Ascendant, or was it one of the Thrawn series where it's basically like you press a button and the ship is supposed to just There's so many things I think about. What if someone's standing in front of it?
What if somebody's standing under it?
Yeah, like, is it just and you're dead? Does it stop? Is there emotion? And I think
does
honestly,
it know? Sometimes it shoots at people, sometimes it doesn't. Did you tell it? It's a tube with one button on top. Like
but you know what? Like, I think the fact that the three of us, can sit here and have this conversation and be like, Star Wars is super silly. Like, look at all these silly things that they do. But then still be able to say, like, hey, the dialogue didn't hit X, Y, and Z, and still walk away with the idea that we love Star Wars is wild, that a lot of people cannot comprehend that.
I feel sad. They're missing out.
Right?
It's a peaceful life.
Agreed.
It can be.
I will say, as far as dialogue though, the moments between Jackie and Osha, I think this episode were super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that if I read them in a script, I would have been more moved by them than the performance, probably. But I do think their little bits in interaction really show what the Jedi are currently and what they could be. So I kind of like seeing the two of them.
Thirsty?
You're not wrong, and in Daphne
I'm also
Keane-
reading Temptation of the Force right now, so
Yes.
Yeah.
About I
I'm
think
already loving it.
more chapters left. That book is really fun. But no, like Daphne Keane, Daphne Keane, right? That's who
Yeah.
plays Jackie. She said that she played it as if Jackie has a crush on Osha, and you can kind of tell that. It's interesting
Yeah.
to see kind of that dynamic because she's like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna stay, but you're not. Like, why is this happening? Why are you leaving? Like, come on, bro. Let's get you back in the order. Come on, pal."
Well,
And
and
Osha just doesn't want anything to do with it. As of
and,
right
and for me, that the way that Jackie's performance specifically, I think she's been phenomenal in every scene she's been in specifically. But that's not specific. But you know what I mean. You can tell though that like it may seem stilted, but you're like, no, this is a Jedi. She's not allowed to do this thing, so she's like having to like slide a card under the table, even though they're face to face. And so, yeah, I thought she played the subtext there well.
Jackie reminds me very much of what Anakin in Attack of the Clones wanted to be. Like, that was the vibe I got from day one. I'm like, damn, Anakin should have 1,000% taken notes from Jackie.
I mean, I hate to say it like this, but Anakin is a boy, and a teenage boy at that time is going to talk like Anakin and then later go and punch the wall in his room. I just, when I was little, while all the girls were like talking with each other, we were running around pretending to shoot guns hanging from the monkey bars. Like the socialization is on different levels. That's all I'm saying.
Very true. Very true.
Brandon, you strike me as a kid that was like hanging from the monkey bars from your like legs and like shooting at the same time.
Yeah, we'd climb up on top, and then you lean over and grab at the underside with your arms. So you swing down and pretend like we were a SWAT team, like coming in through a ceiling. And we was like, yeah.
Dude.
Good times.
Childhood. It's so much easier being a kid. Don't ever grow up.
Unless you're a Jedi Padawan.
Yeah.
Then your childhood is... Yeah, actually, if you're a Jedi Padawan in this time, you're probably having a great time.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, there's not like you've been like 100.
If you're in the First Order,
no.
But you don't know you're having a bad time because they play propaganda all night, every night while you sleep. So
that's wild.
I also will say, if you're a Padawan during the Clone Wars, good luck.
PTSD.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. I think the Acolyte really, for the first time in a while, made me excited about the Jedi.
Why is that?
Because we get to see them in a different... I don't want to say a different light, because every time we see the Jedi, especially in the prequels, they're almost painted negatively, right? Like, from Anakin's perspective, the Jedi are corrupt. As the audience, we're supposed to kind of see both sides of that, right? And even like as we get later into the sequels, we have Luke being like, burn the Jedi text. And, so the Jedi are never really shown as solely the heroes. But with the Acolyte, it's almost like they acknowledge where the Jedi are wrong.
Yeah,
I'm not using my words correctly, but it's almost like they're showing us the two sides of the Jedi more openly than, compared to the prequels.
Well, I mean, it kind of feels like a mirror of like the fandom of the people who you would probably consider a Jedi in the fandom. We'll talk about like good and bad, and then the people you think of as Sith have no reliance on knowledge or truth or information or facts. And so like so that's kind of what I see. Like Luke's Jedi Order, it was him acknowledging like yeah, we've always started off with good intentions, but things have historically gone pretty badly pretty quickly. Maybe we should stop doing it, or maybe there's a better way. And then I don't think any other organization in Star Wars has the ability to self-reflect at all and come to anywhere near that conclusion.
No.
So true.
No, you're absolutely right.
So, kind of veering left, what did we think of May's kind of, I guess, confession or realization at the end there, and that whole scene? Because I liked the idea of it. I think the execution was a little
Sloppy.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, it wasn't done well, but it wasn't. It kind of made the point. Like she figures it out. To a point, like it was okay, but like then again, it's like you're really like the way you just were the entire time. These 3 episodes, and then you just turn like that. It's not the best, I will say.
Loved it, but I did think the dialogue, acting in the dialogue suffered a little bit. But like the concept of it is like I've carried so much hate in my heart for what these people did to my family and what they did to my sister. You know what I mean? Episode 3, she sees her sister at the was it Boca tree, the button tree, the
Boga tree,
kombucha tree. And then she's like, well, whenever I don't know where you are, I come here. And then I picture that little girl who went there at the end of the episode and her sister wasn't there. And that's the first time she's realized she's alone and she's carried that hate forever. And then she sees her sister again, and it hasn't really computed, not until Kymer was trying to like gaslight her into staying. He's like, it doesn't change anything now that she's alive. And then she was like, oh, I never even thought about that. No, that was the only reason I'm here. It's literally the only reason I'm here. So I don't have to do this. To hell with you. And I'm gonna go hang out with my sister.
Yeah, I think the her turning was super sick. I think it gave her a little bit more of like dimension than we're expected to seeing from the quote unquote like villain characters. I think with May though, what I'm excited to see is how and why her master didn't immediately take Osha, kill Osha. Like the flick was interesting.
I mean, I'm assuming that we're gonna see a switch. We're gonna find out that Osha is probably far and away the more powerful sister, and that May is just the one that went through the training to do all the stuff. And so upon seeing this, he's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to turn this one too. And I can definitely see, especially if it's Kymer behind the mask, or as I'm starting to think it's the mask itself.
Oh, are you thinking that it's just like there's no unveiling? It's just some guy.
No, not some guy, but like if it was the mask itself. So like we have Darth Momin, where you put the helmet on.
Okay.
Okay. And then Exum Panchard is the same thing, and both of them were trying to come back in some form or fashion. And so like I almost wonder if maybe even this witch group is like a form of followers that have been tricked into following this so that he can slowly bring himself back. And maybe that's what the creation of the daughters was accidentally. Um, like, yeah. But anyways, I can get into that whole theory later. But yeah, I'm thinking now he's gonna take Osha with him, which is gonna leave May and all the Jedi and whoever is left. And so now, because most of them are gonna die. But yeah, he's gonna run off with Osha, and try to turn her and tell her all these things that Soul never did to turn her against him. Versus May, who's finally going to be able to let go of all this stuff. She's going to be with Soul. Now, Soul is going to say, we probably should take this to the Jedi now, but I need your help, May, in order to get your sister back. And if I take you in, they're just going to arrest you. So we have to do this. We have to do it now. That's where I'm thinking it's going to go.
Now, I agree that a lot of the Jedi are going to die. But do you think it's just going to wind up being like Yord, Jecki, Soul, and May? And everyone else they're kind of with is just for continuity purposes?
I'm thinking that, and I'm also thinking Yord is going to be like, hell no, we're not going after him. I'm going back to tell everyone right now. And that's going to lead to a scuffle. So they'll probably end up abandoning Yord on the planet while the three of them go after May, and then we'll see where those ships land.
I do agree that either Yord is going to be left or something is going to happen where he is either like unwillingly taken, like Jecki just knocks him out and they haul his, body onto the ship and it's like, he'll forgive us later. Or what I could see happening is May says something about this affecting the larger Jedi that gets him to, kind of abandon his morality for a moment. So I don't know if I'm completely sold on the idea of Yord not coming, mostly because I really want more Yord.
I want Yord to turn. I want Yord. I
okay,
say that
this
whole
would love
thing,
this character design.
This whole thing ends with Yord leaving the Order forever. I'll plant a flag in that.
I would actually fuck really hard with that.
Let's just see what Yord Horde does after that.
I mean, what's Kilnaka crew doing right now,
bro? Hold on.
Resting in pieces. I will say, I do hope that we get some more we will get flashbacks of Kilnaka, but are you playing taps?
Gone, but never forgotten. Copyright.
I would pour one out, but I'm empty right now.
I know, and we have carpet, and I don't want to get it wet. But no, it was kind of disappointing. We got a Jedi Wookiee in live action, and just to have him get killed off screen, and then we see like the remains of it. Loki,
where's Brody around to say it was predictable?
yeah. No, we're just missing that. No, but my thing is we're gonna get more Kel. We're gonna get more Kel Naka because we still have to go through the flashback. So at least we get that. But I mean, that was kind of like the biggest disappointment to me. And again, this goes back to fans having expectations. I wanted to see the Wookiee Jedi like do Jedi things. Like we hear Burry do it all the time. We see Gunji do it in the Clone Wars, but like live action Wookiee, like using the Force, like him using the Force and breaking that, like tearing that
The
that blaster in
yeah.
half was hilarious and awesome at the same time.
That went
I'm
hard.
like, I was like, bro, this is what Kelnaka Crew needed.
So I feel like May would have died.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I just you
I
know, we
really
joke about the
think-
knives. I don't think a knife would do anything.
No, I think that in the spirit of keeping things realistic, I can totally agree she would not have survived, and the conversation would have been like the Mary Sue conversation would have been astronomical.
Insane.
Astronomical.
Insane. No, but could you? I would have paid to have her not know Shriwook, and like Kelnaka's just talking to her, and she's just like, "Come at me, Master Kelnaka," and what? just what? I don't know Shriwook. Anyway, that's my job this week, is just to be the wise guy, just to throw out the quirkiness. I have zero thoughts at this point. I've just been drained from every negative thing that we've seen online lately the last 2 days. So, yeah.
You know what? They've all been so dumb that it doesn't bother me. It's funny of like to see how little connection people are capable of making with their brain.
Yeah.
Is like, well, how does Caddy Mooney not know that the Sith have come back? And you're like, does anyone in the show know that the Sith are back? No, that's how. Like, it's not complicated, you know. But it is what it is. There was another part that felt weird to me. I loved what it was trying to do, but when Osha was walking and she touched, you know, the roly poly with wings.
Oh
hell.
yeah.
You know, and then Soul's like, "I've got it," and you're like, "All right, man, cool." Damn, all right. It felt weird, but I understand. Like, she's like, "Oh, I'm finally connecting again after years of disuse." But every time I connect with something, that thing ends up dying, and like I can see that would be like a negative, you know, that would bring back emotions for her. But just the whole framing around it felt a little weird.
It felt out of place. Like, I feel like if yes, the framing of it did feel weird because it almost felt like the explanation afterwards felt forced.
Yeah. Or like, I don't, maybe there should have just been more to the scene. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because like their trek through the wilderness was honestly pretty uneventful. And I would also picture like other movies where, like, you know, she would touch it, that would fly, and then cut it, and then all of a sudden they would all start opening up, and then the music would be dun 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 dun, and then they'd have to run and then figure out how to do it, and then afterwards, you know, there's just something. But I think it was revealed that this in the next episode were actually one episode, and they were forced to separate them. But I heard that, and I saw a screenshot, but I haven't had time to actually investigate. So I say that with trepidation.
That would make more sense, possibly.
Agreed.
I also think that with the whole scene there, it would almost have been a little bit more powerful if Osha almost had like an Ezra moment with the bug, like had like it was going to stop, and then like Jackie or Soul or another rando Jedi just boop killed it by accident, rather than like
Soul going off.
yes, Soul just having a party.
Well, who knows? I mean, what if on the trek back, the Sith has Osha in tow, and one of those goes loose, and instead of killing it, the Sith stops it, and calms it down, and then she'd be like, "Wait, maybe they don't have to die." I don't know, I'm just spitballing here.
So
I
here's my
like
question.
writing. Leave me alone.
Who do you think Darth Smiley is? Have we already talked about this?
Briefly,
We
but
did
you
for a
stepped out of the
second.
room.
Okay, so I think my guess is Mother Coral, because we didn't see a body. However, the hands do look a little bit more masculine than Mother Coral's. But I'm still gonna die. I'll go with Mother Coral though, because I think it makes narrative sense. But then again, it doesn't make narrative sense now that I think about it, because it's like,
Well,
oh, if it was just Mother Coral, then she would have revealed herself to May and been like, "Yo, I'm your mother."
I mean, she was not in agreement with the mom, with Anastasia. So I could
Yep.
see her like, if I reveal myself, then they'll be defensive because I was the antagonist for Anastasia. I don't know. My tinfoil hat theory. Um, I'm still rocking with my original one that it's actually Torben. But that's way wild. But my
Whoa! Now we got a deep dive. How?
he faked his death, and that's how he knew. He knew exactly what the poison was, and so he went and drank it. But who prepared that poison? Right?
Oh,
That was what's his name.
Kimmy.
So it could have been something to just knock him out, so he can like plan an escape. But he could have seen some stuff back in the day, shook his faith as a Jedi, and then started like being mad at the Jedi and like, oh, I'm gonna do something. I need to figure it out. We need to take the Jedi down a peg because I'm part of this problem. And so while he's floating there in that trance, he could be projecting himself somewhere else um, to talk to people, or B, he can go somewhere, project himself back there from time to time. Either one, it'd be super easy for him. But my main theory now is that it's the helmet itself, just like Exum Panchard or Darth Momin, that the helmet is possessing people. So at one point, it could have been the Zabrak mother, and at one point, it could have been Torben, and it probably is Keimer right now. But that's why he's like, yeah, I don't know who the master is and all this stuff, because it's something that he puts on and takes off from time to time.
That's interesting. That'd be a nice little pull from lore for sure.
Be a pull
People
from
would lose
lore,
their
and
minds
then
on that.
the whole machine, the whole witches and all this stuff is a long and drawn out ritual to try and bring himself back, just like Momin was trying to bring himself back as well. And ultimately, maybe the witches were training the daughter to be the next wearer of the mask, and that is why Mother Anastasia was so happy that one of her daughters wanted to leave, because she's like, I can spare one of them of this burden. I don't know.
Yeah. And I also I do think with the whole idea of a twin, of like the twins, I don't think that it's meant to be like a light and dark, good and bad. I genuinely don't. I think the twins from day one was like an heir and a spare.
Ooh.
Like, I don't necessarily
Yeah.
think that they're like on two opposite sides. I genuinely think they are just the same word in a different font.
I see. I like that a lot, and that also plays with what Leslie Hadlin had originally said, that this was Kill Bill meets Frozen, but because the thing that she loved about Frozen was that it was the love that these sisters had for each other that saved them in the end. It wasn't Prince Charming swooping down and saving them.
Right. And I think like if they were to play too much into the, good and bad, yin and yang type of deal between the two of them, it would almost become too predictable. But I think what would be interesting is they were both raised the same. They were both raised to have, this almost, the same outcome, essentially. And now one, May, the heir, Osha, the spare, but now the spare, they're realizing maybe should have been the heir.
Yeah,
Now I
like that a lot.
don't right, and I don't know if Acolyte, is gonna get a season 2. Or if it was slotted for it. I don't know. I don't trust anything Star Wars says anymore. But
It wasn't slotted for it. Leslie has something in mind, but it wasn't slotted for it.
Like, if I am correct and they do like an heir and a spare type of thing, I think it would be cool if the two of them had that realization and it was almost like an internal battle of, well, which one was I supposed to be? That I think would be so cool and would also in a way play into this idea of, oh, you don't have a father. This, I don't want to get in the whole chosen one prophecy BS, but if you are, someone who believes in the Jedi prophecies, I think the, idea of the heir and the spare, they having the powers could be interesting.
Shaco hates Anakin Skywalker, so therefore he hates the Chosen One prophecy.
No, I don't hate Anakin. I do hate the Chosen One prophecy, though. I hate its addition to Star Wars.
So can I say that the Acolyte actually, in a weird roundabout way, made me like the sequels more?
Interesting.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
Fun
Explain.
fact for those who don't know this about me, I am genuinely not a huge fan of the sequels. Never have been, and I am very slowly appreciating them more. But my biggest thing was that I really didn't like the whole like multiple chosen one theory. Because in my mind, it didn't connect. I didn't like the whole Palpatine returning. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. But when I saw them kind of manipulating the midichlorians and creating life on their own way, for me, I was like, oh, okay. Like, they're kind of bringing this idea of like other people in the galaxy can fit into this. It's not just Anakin and maybe Luke and maybe Rey. Like, it could be someone outside of the Skywalker lineage that could fit into here. And for me, it actually gave a different layer onto the sequels that I didn't see before. So I will always have a very big spot in my heart for the Acolyte now because of that. So I think for me, I'm excited to see what they do with Osha and May.
She absolutely, I cannot tell you, we can't even get into it, how much she does not like a certain movie, and I will not get into it.
Oh, I don't, it's Last Jedi, but it's...
All right, Brandon, here we go.
No, I respect that. It is what it is. No, I do love the concept of other people like working towards creating force sensitives and stuff like that, because it's just the natural thing that would happen in the galaxy.
Yes,
like,
thank you.
People believing that like, no, only Plagueis and Palpatine ever got close is like weird, and also super wrong on its base level, because like, it's happened in canon before. We have an example of the Night Sisters doing it. Also giving out force sensitivity. Like Mother Towson straight up says, yeah, I'm not a natural force wielder, but by taking in the Ichor, she's become one. And you're like, word? She can also she can also make people magically buff. That's crazy. Anyways, I feel like they break a lot of stuff that like if you cared you'd be mad at those. But like in the expanded universe, and also Snoke was force sensitive.
I was just gonna
look like a ball sack, but like it's still, you didn't look good, but you don't need that.
Got the job done, kinda.
But like, where was the outrage for Luke? Where was the outrage for Jorah Sabaoth? Right? Those are clone created force sensitive people. Where's the outrage?
But also
for
the salami
for
lizards.
Jackson?
I can't say their names.
Salami lizards.
I can't
I
say their
did know.
names.
Islamary, yeah,
Yeah,
Islamari.
why I always say them on band. It's like why Salamiri, but I don't think that's right.
No.
That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like a thing that obviously people are going to try to do. That's why I super want the Ascendant to be like the next big bads, because I love Naruto and it's kind of like the plot of Boruto. But basically it's people who are trying to emulate that but using technology. Trying to use that. Definitely check out Darth Afra comics if you haven't yet. They're a cool antagonist. But yeah, it's just natural that would happen.
I think the Acolyte, I think what a lot of people don't like about it is a huge step away from the Skywalker saga. Like the Mandalorian has so many little bits and pieces of it sprinkled in. From Cobb Vanth's speeder to like a million little prequel and OT references. Like Mando is not as removed from the Jedi as we think.
And that's why the first season of Mando is the best season. It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I still think season 1 of Mando is way too Mando, Grogu, and his wacky, silly adventures for me. It felt a little too close. I wasn't expecting that, and I wasn't a fan.
It is a series of video game side quests for sure.
Yes.
Like, you need 10 berries. If you do that, then I will sell you this car. And you're like, okay, with this car, you can travel here. But first, you need gas. Bring me 8 heads of sheep, and I will give you gas. And like, oh god damn it! Could you just tell me this up front? What all do I need?
Like the entirety of Baldur's Gate, you mean?
Yes, I love Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, same. But no, I really think that the Acolyte is just so far removed from the Skywalkers because they're not even a thought yet. And it's a breath of fresh air for me. I love seeing the Jedi being Jedi. I love that the Jedi have personality just in their character design. Like, I have paused the episodes multiple times just to look at the different robes. Mm-hmm. I love that because in the prequels, it was just like the same robe in different colors with basically the same belt. But now we have civilian robes. We have like outside robes, inside robes, gold robes. Like, I love it.
But just think if Obi-Wan had all of those robes.
Yes, think if Obi-Wan had access to fashion.
He would have thrown them all.
Yeah, I was gonna say they would have been just heaps of clothing around the galaxy.
Just everybody has a collection of Obi-Wan's thrown away robes.
No, it's true. I mean, at one point they were like, we don't have time for Jedi sewing class. Let's just order it on Amazon.
They started mass producing them on Corellia.
Yeah.
Why is Corellia always? Well, I mean, it's the manufacturing, at least for the ships. But like,
I just said Corellia out my ass. There was no actual. I like in my brain.
Half Detroit, half China, I guess. Like, you just
Corellia. Yeah. It's also my favorite Star Wars planet, so
yes,
I always fall back to Corellia.
Are you a big fan of Thraken Sal Solo?
100%.
No, I just evil Han Solo with a mustache, with a beard.
Yep. I just think Corellia is just so funny as a planet. It's just so silly. It's so stupid. Like, it's literally just an industrial nightmare.
All right. Can we talk about how there's a low council and a high council?
I loved that. I loved that.
That was so well done because it's like Finestra's like, all right, guys, here we go. Y'all didn't make it on the Jedi Council. We're going to make you important. And it's like, of course, Ki-Adi-Mundi is in the fucking low council before he gets into the high council. Come on now.
See,
yeah.
didn't like it for that reason. What I really liked about the idea of like a low and high council is the fact that it shows the Jedi stepping more and more and more into like a very bureaucratic, very like organized esque establishment rather than the religion that and way of life that they started as, because now they have, you know, tiers and levels and special clubs and secret meetings. And I love the way that the slow disillusion of the Jedi is being seen through the Acolyte, in just the way that like Soul is, you know, portrayed versus Yord versus Jecki versus Vernestra. Like, I love it. I love the Jedi in this.
This episode also for me gave me justice for Vernestra, because I was like, oh, this didn't feel like what I would think she would say, you know, last time, until she was like, yeah, no, we would have to make it known, and then our political, like, we are suspecting that a Jedi trained this person at this point in time, because that seems to be the obvious answer.
Yeah.
And so if ever other people believed that there is a bunch of evil Jedi running around, that could cause some problems for us. So let's kind of keep it in house until we're ready, you know?
Well,
And you're like,
it's like,
well, that makes more sense.
well, it's like the whole Saratobi Donzo relationship, sort of, to an extent. Like, one is fighting from the shadows, the other is leading from like the front. So like Saratobi would be the high council and the low council would be Donzo. Like always
Donzo. Stop it.
Same. We definitely do crap, I just read a text and now I'm just interested in that. Never mind. Hold on. Okay, Donzo. So it's like it is very interesting.
I've got my eyes on you. God, I hate Donzo.
Multiple Sharingan, not fun. I just think it's hilarious that Vernestra is like, you know, there's got to be a point in Vernestra's life as a Mirialan where she's like, I've seen a lot of shit. And the Jedi Council comes up to her and they go, hey, we want you to have a seat on the council like your master Jedi is Stellan Geos. And she goes, looks at the seat, goes, ha, nope. And just like is like, I'm going to create my own gang. And she just gets all the misfits, and that's why I love it, because she's still working within the system, but she's working around the system, if that makes any sense. And
okay, I like that idea.
And I mean, does everybody have hot takes, or is it just going to be all about the shitheads? Or is it not going to be about the shitheads? Does anybody have any hot takes?
Oh, well, kind of, but I will say,
do you want me to do the? I can do the whole.
No, I was gonna comment one more thing.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
No, as resident Yoda hater, I am genuinely shocked that Yoda was not name dropped this episode. When they were talking about the council and talking to leaders and yada yada yada, I really thought that stupid little fucking gremlin was going to get name dropped. I didn't think they were going to show him, but I thought that it was going to be like well, maybe we should consult Master Yoda. And I really thought, but I was pleasantly surprised and happy.
I'm not going to lie. And I can't believe I'm saying this. Yoda, at one point in Temptation of the Force, makes me like him. And it's annoying. It's so annoying.
How did you make it through the other book without liking him?
What other book? The Phase 2? I didn't read much of Phase 2. Is that what you're talking about?
No. The Jedi book.
Oh, well, about. I mean, yeah, the Living Forest.
No, yeah. Phase 2 has some amazing Yaddle moments. I mean, you get a whole Yaddle book. It's great.
Yeah. Yaddle's great. But anyway, all right. I think it's time to go to hot takes.
Don't be too proud of this podcast you've constructed. The ability to rank content is insignificant next to the power of an exceptional hot take.
Hot take time. All right, let's get into it. Brandon, what in the world happened to the focus? Oh, there you go. You're good. Oh, maybe not. It's okay.
We'll fix it.
Yeah, there we go. Hold on. So we've got Brandon. What's your hot take for this week?
Making me go first. I'm still
Yeah.
half baked. My thought is half baked. I'm not half baked. But no, my hot take is just that it just goes back to what people. Jackie is the best example of what a Jedi should be.
Yep.
It's not. It's obviously not Yord, but it's also not Soul. I love Soul. Don't get me wrong, but the place that the Jedi need to be is flexible. They need to be willing to listen and adjust. And getting too into one point of view or one side, or just being too rigid in any case in general, is what leads to the downfall. Be flexible, serve the light. It can't flow if you're all rigid.
Hell yeah.
No, I agree. Roger. There you go. Roger.
I think that both Galaxy's Edges in California and Florida and France, whatever, should be set during the Acolyte and not post the OT.
Ooh.
I think just
I agree.
branding wise, like the old Jedi Padawan trials that they used to have on the stage outside of Star Tours.
Yes.
They could do a whole experience with that. I've said from day one that they should take the Halcyon and turn it into a 2 to 3 hour immersive experience where you train with the Jedi, become a Jedi, whatever. But I think during this time period, there's so many fun things that they could do. I mean, obviously at this point, it would be a little bit difficult because of, the Falcon there. But they could pretty easily, I don't know, do something else. I don't know. But I think that if they set it in the Acolyte, it would just be much more interesting and fun.
No, I agree, because then you get to watch Jedi run around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd lose stormtroopers. Are people okay with that?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I feel like in place of stormtroopers, though, you would have to.
Don't give us
You would have
now.
Yeah,
Can you
have Markion Row just walking.
There's
around.
people running around in masses like,
But
no, knock it off.
I don't know how it is in Anaheim, obviously, because I've never been. But at least in Florida, the stormtroopers, it's a generated set of lines. There's nothing new. And I think that is so limiting as far as a thematic park goes. That I think removing the stormtroopers, besides that's the only thing that most people know from Star Wars aspect of it, I think you could easily replace that with general aliens. I think if you had a Rhodian, a Wookiee, whatever, a couple other aliens bopping around, I think that would replace the stormtroopers and still give that immersive experience.
Okay, this is where I pull back and I say I want the Nihil because I want the Nameless.
It would be pretty sick.
Nameless, just walking around scaring the absolute piss out of people. Those things are scary as hell.
Yeah, no, I would do not want. And you just have people turning to dust and stuff. And a little kid. You have a Jedi in their robes being friendly with the kids and hey kids, this is how you use the Force. You ready? Oh no, the Nameless is coming. You guys run away. Oh no! And then they watch that person die. That's what the kids need.
It's learning. It's learning. The kids get to learn the cycle of life. It's
Yeah.
educational.
You
Gonna
better.
learn
It's almost,
today.
it's almost like it's almost like the boogeyman.
I think it'd be great. It would be great for Halloween time.
absolutely like
But I will say that I don't believe Galaxy's Edge needs an antagonist. I think kids, I think people could have fun just spending time in this world. Maybe you have, I don't know, a pickpocket here or there or something like that, and then the Jedi step in, or maybe you have like a random Sith pop up or something like that. I don't think Galaxy's Edge needs to be tied to canon. Well, sorry, I don't think it needs to be tied to a canonical day.
or event.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Galaxy's Edge would almost be more enjoyable for fans if it was almost like a shell. So like you have the general parts that we all know and love, which can't be moved, which is the landscape and the landmarks. But the little things that make it so immersive, the menu, the clothing that the cast members are wearing, the language that they use, the the plot of the shows that are through the parks, like through the park.
The
that
characters.
Yeah, even the characters, like that can all swap and change per the time period. Like, let's just say they do the Acolyte time period for 3 months. Well, when you go, there's going to be a whole hell of a lot more Jedi. There's going to be a whole hell of a lot more aliens around. And the food and language is going to be a lot more open. It's going to be a lot more like different and varied.
Sorry, go ahead.
What do you think? No. What were you just
No,
saying?
you've inspired me, and I'm actually going to go back to an earlier idea of the Halcyon being like a 3-hour tour type of thing, where you can do that, where you walk in the lobby, and it is roughly the same as Galaxy's Edge, but then you have an elevator and it represents the world between worlds, and you go up in the world between worlds and you step out into the High Republic.
Yeah.
And so everyone gets to experience the High Republic as you go through, and you see cool stuff and all the stuff. And then when you get to the end of that hallway, it leads you to another doorway, and then that takes you to the prequels. And then it takes you to the originals, and then it takes you to the sequels. Or the sequels can just be the bottom floor because that's where you entered. But you get a walkthrough of Star Wars. They get to thematically show you how this is all connected, how this is all one story, and it's just like an event.
I like that.
No,
I like that.
a lot.
I like that.
Yeah.
For me, my idea of what they could turn the shell of the Star Cruiser into is like an adult bibbidi boppity boutique, but for Star Wars. I'm 100% not even fucking joking here. So when
when you say adult,
no, I mean like our age. I mean our
Okay.
age. So okay, so hear me out. So when I was like, oh god,
that's not a lightsaber.
I want to say when I was like 13 or 14, when I went to Disney, they were still doing, or maybe I was a little bit younger, but either way, I was way too old to participate in the Padawan trial, like stage show. And I will never forget begging a cast member. Like I was literally like on my hands and knees being like, please, I just really want to do this on stage. And I was definitely younger than 16, but imagine if we did that for adults, right? So you walk in.
God.
No, but hear me out. You walk in, and the very first thing you do is you pick out an outfit. Could be Jedi, it could be civilian, it could be First Order, it could be whatever.
Isn't that what they did with the Halcyon though, babe?
No, you didn't get it. Like this would be included in your ticket price. So it would be like, let's just say for sake of making it easier, you can choose 3 paths. You can choose Jedi, you can choose Sith, or you can choose, say, like either bounty hunter, first order, maybe they change throughout. And depending on which you choose, which path, you get that outfit, you know, whatever that means. And then you get like a 2-hour like training type thing. So you choose Jedi. So okay, here's like some Jedi lightsaber training. You choose Sith. Well, we're gonna, I don't know, do Sith things, yell at people, make potions. I don't fucking know. Resurrect someone from the dead. If you choose the Sith path, you actually get to see Walt Disney's head cryogenically frozen. I don't know. Like,
is there a Night Sister path I can choose?
Yeah, the Night Sisters. That's for Halloween, actually. That's
Okay.
Halloween only.
Okay.
But I think that could be like interesting for the super fans, because I'll be so for real. If it was a 3-hour experience, let's just say, knowing Disney will put a price marker of $300, and you left with a full like cosplay, nice outfit, like we've all been to Galaxy's Edge, we know that the quality of costumes they sell there is pretty damn high. So you leave with that, you leave with the training experience, and then maybe after you do whatever path you take, you get a, you know, pin or something like how they do with the when you make your lightsaber, you get a pin that shows your designation at the end, something like that. So you leave with an outfit that you can then go and be immersive in the park with. And that's cool. That helps them.
Yeah.
You get a little momentum and you get the experience. Like, I would pay money for that, and I would pay for that 3 different times in my lifetime, because I would want to do the Jedi path, the Sith path, the whatever path.
Yeah.
And if they changed them, my dumbass would 100% be lining up to pay for it. Like,
no, I agree. I think changing the eras every 3 months
would be pretty cool.
would be a good idea, because let's say we do change it to the High Republic, and the create your own lightsaber isn't Yoda talking, it's Avar Kriss, or it's Elzar Mann, or Stellan Gios, or Vanestra Rho. And then we go to the prequels, it's Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka Tano, you know,
or how about all of them are Obi-Wan, but just the 3 different actors?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, instead of stormtroopers walking around, you have clone troopers walking around. If it's during the Clone Wars, you have robot. You literally have robot. You have B2 battle droids walking around, or B1s, or whatever. You know what I mean?
I wonder how kids would fare, because like if you're young enough, I don't think you know the difference between clone troopers and stormtroopers, and so you're like, last time these guys were dicks. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. No, I think that would be fun, but no, I agree.
So is this a Roger? Do I get a Roger?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Roger.
Mine's not really a hot take. Just think before you fucking talk. Just think before you talk. Like, that's all. That's my hot take. Like, really, like we've gotten so insane to where we are sending death threats to Wikipedia, a site that brings a lot of information, and we're stooping this low. Touching grass is good for every once in a while, but that's gonna be it.
Yeah.
Milk
I'm not
toast.
giving. Yep. Yep. I agree. Milk toast.
You fool! Your take is milk toast.
What's funny is now I totally forgot that I was mutuals with Wikipedia, and then until this happened, and I was like, oh,
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Wow.
So far, episode 4, funny enough, looking at the rankings, Brandon and I ranked it exactly the same.
Exactly the same, which is wild.
Right.
We have all different, but we have different things that we liked and disliked.
Yeah.
But that's what makes Star Wars great. That's why I like talking to Star Wars fans. Is like, if you're doing it right, it's more interesting to talk to people you disagree with, and then at the end of the day, we're both clearly still fans, you know.
Right. Though I do know where you live.
Okay, I'm gonna come through. You know, I'll cook. I'll make some of my choco tacos. They're not chocolate, I promise.
No, you said that we were still friends, so I was like trying to be threatening.
Yes, but it was threatening in the same way that of like Elmo
Threatening
going,
the same way
Elmo
that
knows where you live.
Yes. Yes.
Now I can't unsee that. But that is going to be this episode of Duel the Ranks. I don't know where this ranks in everything, but we'll talk about.
We'll figure it out next week.
Next week, you can follow the you can check out the website DOTR.com or dueltheranks.com. Past episodes should be up there. And join the Discord. There's not much going on there, but one day we'll make it big. But Brandon, where can the good people follow you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok, Darth Traco TikTok, Darth Traco on YouTube, Darth Traco7 on Twitter, Darth Traco IG on Instagram. It takes me a while to remember because I don't ever check it. I'm sorry. I'll be talking all things geek, and I mean I'm pretty hyped for Hot D this season. You know, just the first episode dropped, and we've already gotten, yes, there's size, but like now we've removed the Aegon heir, and since they don't recognize women as being able to rule, now the competition is his brother, and like that is a whole crap storm about to happen. We got Daemon over here who's about to try and usurp his own wife. He was trying to talk trash to Rhaenys, but Rhaenys was like, bitch, sit down. I always want to play be humble. Sit down, be humble. So there's a lot going to be popping off there. I'm super excited. It's a fantastic time to be a geek. I'm just saying.
No, absolutely. Alanis.
You can follow me at Not a Kyber on all social media.
And you can follow me at Jedi Master X on all social media and at the Pod Ones. When I can finally get these reactions done, maybe in due time, we'll figure it out. But until the next time, see you later.
Peace.